I saw something recently that had me thinking. It was about how some people think that Zoomers are just dumb when it comes to politics. Now, I don't think this is somehow inherently the case, like some generations are somehow better than others. I do have a theory. Now, if you are a millennial, you probably grew up with a very different kind of internet than what we have now. I would call it much more of a Wild West, but more importantly, a sea of information. Fundamentally, though, it was a place where you looked for things. You went to Google or something like Alta Vista or Ask Jeeves, and you would search for things and scroll through to find these little weird web pages filled with content. You'd find sites and things that you'd then tell your friends about, and people would go to these different places for this content. That's very different from what the modern internet today exists as. Today's modern internet is one where, usually in some sort of content feed, like TikTok, and something is algorithmically tailored to what you would want to see, at least hypothetically. But there lies the problem. With a sea of websites made by a bunch of small creators, you get your information from a wide variety of people in a wide variety of interests and topics. But for the most part, the modern internet and these feeds are controlled by a handful of giant companies. And companies typically don't want well-informed populations. They want obedient little customers that are willing to buy more stuff and not ask too many questions that might get them thinking differently than would be best for the bottom line. Outside of that, I do think there is something to be said about learning to find yourself at the cusp of adulthood. In my 20s, I was probably a very different person, someone who I'd probably cringe at. But importantly, you gotta remember Zoomers are in their 20s now. They're discovering themselves, and some of them are learning and improving as well. Look at Parker and Dean. I forget which one of them, might have been both, that said that they used to be conservatives. And I think this comes from the fact that at a young age, when your limited interactions are with your parents, a lot of people tend to parrot those talking points, and limited experiences yield these limited perspectives. Things like college and getting out into the world and experiencing people you've never been around help to sort of expand your viewpoints and help you to want to learn more and to ask questions and to critically think. And those things tend to lead towards the left. What do you think? Have you gone through a similar sort of thing in your past? Do you miss the old internet? Let me know your thoughts.